Hey everybody, we are the Wolves of Wall Tweet, and for our project, we're doing a project centered around the theory that stock price movements are a function of sentiment. So if people are feeling confident or they really like a product, that's going to affect stock in one way. It's going to cause it to go up most likely. If people are disappointed with a product, then or they're not confident in the economy, it's going to cause it to go down. And for our, we're using Twitter to as our data for sentiment. There are two types of sentiment we want to consider. One is called systematic sentiment, and systematic sentiment refers to the sentiment of the economy as a whole. Tweets that are going to affect or be categorized as systematic would include policymakers such as the president or the chair of the Federal Reserve, which dictates interest rates, or tweets related to global events such as the coronavirus, which we're dealing with now. The other type of sentiment is firm-specific sentiment. This would include tweets from a company CEO or a member of the company, or tweets of a customer, such as a celebrity. Say a celebrity really likes a product, that's probably going to cause the stock price of the company that produces that product to go up. So for our project, we're going to use Twitter data to predict stock price movements. We're going to limit our scope to the 30 companies in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. These companies are large cap companies that are thought to be good indicators of the market as a whole. And we're going to have three inputs into our model. We're going to build an AI model. The three inputs will be systematic sentiment, firm-specific sentiment, which will be then blended into one sentiment, and then the previous stock price performance.
So going in a little deeper to our project itself, this is a diagram, kind of like an overview. So as Blake mentioned, we've got systematic and firm-specific tweets. These we run through the Vader library, which is a sentiment analysis tool that we'll talk about more in a sec. We've got this library will give us a sentiment score for each specific tweet, and then we'll average those scores out into a systematic average score and a firm-specific average score. And then we will kind of perform a weighted average on those to get a blended sentiment score. And again, that'll be based on a collection of tweets over one specific day. And then we'll use the Yahoo Finance API to get closing stock prices for that specific day. And you can kind of see in this table here in the bottom left what our training data for our machine learning model will kind of look like. Yeah, like I said, we'll be feeding this into a machine learning model that will return a price for that specific stock that we'll be predicting. Like I mentioned, we'll be using the Yahoo Finance API. This allows the retrieval of historic stock data. And again, closing price is going to be what's most important for us. Our Twitter data retrieval, we'll be using the Get Old Tweets 3 library from GitHub as per the recommendation of Professor Wang. And this basically allows us to retrieve historic Twitter data and kind of bypasses some of the number of request limitations that we were running into with the normal Twitter API and using Tweepy. And we'll be cleaning and stripping these tweets down to just the most essential words, removing all the retweet and hyperlinks that might be present in them.
So the Vader API that Bailey mentioned in our process, it's a sentiment analysis API that we're using that's specific for social media text analysis. So that means that it's able to analyze things like emojis, capitalization in certain words, and even slang, which is useful when using Twitter data. And it basically provides a score from -1 meaning it's a negative sentiment, to +1 for a positive sentiment.
And then our LSTM model, LSTM stands for long short-term memory, and it is an architecture that's good for predicting or modeling time series data. So our time series data is our stock price because the price is over a period of time. And In the bottom left, you can see the architecture. It's got 3 gates: input, forget, and output gate. And the forget gate helps determine what's valuable in the long term and what can be forgotten. And we'll be coding this using Python, Keras, or PyTorch libraries.
So the challenges, overall, we can't really use live market data or in tweets because of the current events of just the overall negative sentiment across the market. So that means we have to focus on older tweets to be able to correlate specific firm-specific tweets to firm-specific results in the stock market. And then related works, we've seen a lot of work done around sentiment analysis, even especially on Twitter in relation to the overall stock market. So that usually uses the overall market of tweets as well. We took the focus of being firm specific and stock specific. So that's our main differentiator to the works out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.